Okay, my outstanding friends, if you are a scientist of any caliber or degree, this will shock you to your very core. We're going to be talking about the new review of the Smithsonian. And are they giving us the correct information? Well, let's find out. Okay, I'm really hoping that Stephen Burns will contact me. Roger at mudfossils.com. Any experts on virtually any topic. I'm wide open for questions to do some back and forth, questions and answers. People have never considered this before. That is muscle tissue. And that, what happened is there's red blood in here that's eroded out of there because red blood washes right out. And the whole thing collapsed because this layer of red blood ran out of there, just as I was about to show you. You know, outrageous claims, outrageous evidence. That's what happened here. And that is muscle tissue from a giant creature. All right, this is what happened in Turkey. This whole thing collapsed. This is the surface right here. This is basically skin. I'm serious as I can be. That's skin. All of the olive trees were up on top, growing down like this. This is muscle sarcomeres. I will show you, laugh all you want. This is exactly what happened here. You have red blood services muscle tissues. That red blood ran out from under and created voids in here. And the whole thing just dropped. And I mean a huge expanse of it. Don't forget, these are the trees at the top. Skin, and then the muscle sarcomeres, as you will see right here. There it is right there. That's the muscle. Here it is. This is it. Those are the trees. That's the skin all the way across the top. You see it down to here. And then you get into the muscle. And the muscle is serviced by red blood. And the black, where you see the black, that's the membranes. Phospholipid membranes that surround each muscle sarcomere, and they come in blocks. So a layer of blood ran out because you see the hill, you see the slope on the hill. It ran out down here. They were probably saw where it was running out from, and there's caves there or something, and the whole thing just collapsed. And I mean the whole thing. It was an enormous collapse. Now, I don't know how much clearer I can make it. That's actual muscle that's in your body, and everybody's body has a muscle. It pulls in like this. That's constricted, and that's relaxed. And all these tiny little fibers are connective tissue. They don't run away. They don't run out like blood. Blood and the really wet, gooey, red stuff has to flow and has to be fluid. That stuff is what makes you so that you don't fall apart, is the little bitty bits in there. But when they pull together, that's when you get your muscle activity. All right, I'm not going to apologize for what I'm about to show you because it's true. This is a hair follicle. That's one of these. That's where the muscle right here attached to the hair follicle, so you could do this. This is the sebaceous gland, which is right there. Slid down here, and there it is. There is the hair shaft, which is a flat-sided. They tell me that's probably from somebody that had curly hair. This is about 2 inches wide. And that's the root coming down, and that is the hair papilla down here. So don't tell me these things were not small. And I have other stuff, not quite this big, but they're big, like a 3-foot-long fingertip. It's been DNA tested. This is a lung. It's been DNA tested, CAT scan. It all happened during the Great Flood. Now, people can't accept this. Oh, the guy's crazy. No, I'm not. I have the evidence. The people that are crazy are the people that cannot accept reality, and that's what I have run into in the academic realm. They just cannot accept reality. What I'm going to show you is so important, it has to be looked at. Okay, this goes way beyond just asteroid Bennu and so forth, and Darwin and not being correct. This is where they're going to be meeting up in Alaska, Putin and Trump, this week. This is riddled with earthquakes, very serious earthquakes, but rumbling. They just had an 8.8 up at Kamchatka, right over here. This whole area here is just saturated with them, in Turkey as well, and they're all over the earth. Now the volcanism is happening because the earth is overheated. Okay, they're going to have a review of the Smithsonian. Well, I would say to review the National Science Foundation and NASA as well, because they all teamed up together on this Bennu project to try to examine what they found on this asteroid. They landed and came back with the sample. Let's discuss it. Okay, this is what they went and grabbed off of asteroid Bennu, brought it back to Earth, and I'm going to explain precisely what is here, and I mean precisely. This white stuff is what is called the phosphate surprise. They never expected it was here. When they put it under a certain light, they could see these phosphates lighting up. This is the same as this. All right, but you're just not seeing all the phosphates light up. You see little white dots, but not like this under that specific light. Now, what else do we see? We see a chunk here that is this chunk. And what is that? These are kind of distinct, these little blocky things. And this is the white layer. And then there's another white layer up here with some more blocks like this above it, and then some more and some more and some more. All right, that's this stuff here coming out this way, and when you look down on it, it looks blocky, like this. Very distinct, and they're all over. You see this? These are all those same little, they're like little ropes, and in those ropes are these little blocks. I'm going to tell you exactly what this is. This is a piece of muscle. And I know exactly what kind of muscle it is, too, because there's all kinds of different muscle. This came off of an asteroid. How did it get there? Well, guess what? It is because it is the asteroid. Okay, these are the ropes I just showed you. Looking down this way, you see bundles of rope all twisted around going this way. Looking at it sideways down, you see all of the sarcomeres. And in between them, there's layers of phosphates that separates each little band. All right, so this is when they went down, just grabbed a chunk, came back with it. Well, what would a human heart look like here on Earth? Well, guess what? Here's what it looks like, exactly the same. These are the sarcomeres. They pull in and out like that. This is from a heart attack victim, which is separated along the connecting part. And this is what pulls in and out to make your heart beat. And these are the phosphate surprise layers, sarcomeres. It's a human heart. All right, a heart is virtually 100% muscle. The only thing pretty much is the valves and the plumbing and stuff at the top. And that pops right off because of this iron banding. You see the red and the blue? That's the different states of oxygen. And they snap apart because they're polar, they push apart. And that pops right off and you get right down into the heart valves. All right, this is just a little more detail, but what it is just the heart does this all day long until you die. And this outline here, that right there, is this layer of the ventricle wall. And they break right along that seam. And you can see right down into the valves of the heart. You see that? That's the 4 different tubes you can see sticking right in a little bundle up at the top of the heart when the plumbing goes. This shows it quite clearly. Now, this is actually psyche. It's another heart. It's in space. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. That right there. First of all, these colors, black, yellow, and red, are the colors of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. This actually has tubes sticking out of it. I'll show you in a minute. But here's the valves. And this is what happens is there's a tendinous material here that locks into the muscle so that it can twist like this. And that does not usually go away. And it didn't here. It's still here. You see? That's that. All the rest is just nothing but muscle. All the rest is this stuff. And you can see all the little valves right there. That's these. And you can even see them better on Bennu. This is psyche, and this is huge, gigantic. And of course it breaks right across there. And they're showing it as a metal asteroid. I don't think that's right. In other words, I think that's doctored up. But this is true. They can see these things very clearly. All right, so don't forget, these have a little valve so that it can only go one way or the other way. That type of thing. That's how a valve works. Pulmonary valve, the bicuspid. Well, what can we see? Whoops. What can we see in Bennu? Here's Bennu right here. Follow my feather here. Right around here is one valve. Right around here is another valve. Right around here is another valve. And I think on the other side there's one. This one right here. You see the fold here, the fold here, the fold here? I believe this one comes this way. And if you try to push the blood back, it would seal it off. That's how valves work. One way, like a gate, you cannot go back. This is Bennu. This is where they landed. Bam! They grabbed something, came back to Earth with it, and guess what? It has RNA and DNA and every single thing a heart would have, because it is a heart and it is blood. And it is sarcomeres, and there is a phosphate surprise, and it is a heart in space, and this one's small compared to psyche. You see that? That's psyche. These are heart valves. These are the colors of blood. That's the tendon. That's a tube. That's a tube coming out this way. That's a tube going out that way. These are not impact craters. Most of the, you see these little ones blowing out here? That's red blood. Red blood is really wet and pops easily, and it's saturated with red blood, because not only is it saturated inside, pumping our blood, it's saturated with blood because it takes a ton of blood to make your heart run. Now, this is what they came back with. It's got the RNA, DNA, uracil. I think they said there's something like 16,000 known organic chemicals in here. Phosphate surprise, sarcomeres. You can look at it, it's a heart. Space smells like steak, they say. I showed you what the ropes are. These are all little rope fibers that wrap around the heart and make it do all that stuff. It's just one big long band of muscle, actually, to be honest. Very interesting how it works. But it's here on Earth, and they know it's here. I mean, I've been after them for two years now. Came back into, well, almost 2 years, 2023, before he even came back. I sent to everybody involved in it I could find. I said, what you're going to come back with is, and I sent them all 3 different types of blood, the different transition metals. There are 26 different metals in there, and their concentrations and so forth in the different ventricles of the heart, and not one single response. And then when they had a live, I went up there and I said, what you're looking at is a heart, and I got blocked. So I think it's time to take these people to account. What are they supposed to be doing for us? We need some interaction here. And Trump is the only one that has a loud enough voice to speak up to these people. I'm telling you, they got us under their thumb, my friends. Now, speaking about the thing with Yale, I submitted my stuff to them and to NASA and all of them in about 2014, 2015, when they landed up there with Curiosity. I was seeing all these muscle fibers and all the things I was just showing you. And they actually funded Yale And Yale distorted the evidence as far as I'm concerned. If that's not true, well, let's talk about it. You see this? You can come up and read this. This is from Yale. Exceptional preservation of soft-bodied Ediacara biota. All that means is they went to Australia and found these things. Exceptional preservation, soft-bodied forms. But they said it was just slime. Now this is 2016. Now this is exactly the same time, because NASA funded them. Why would NASA fund Yale to create a paper that discounts the truth as far as I'm concerned? And this is exceptional preservation. We figured it out. Yale University, we're heroes, we're so forth. Well, no. They distorted the truth. I presented them with the truth. This is 2016. I presented Yale with the truth in 2015. DNA, CAT scans. I have all the specimens. They refused to look at them. All right, here's my evidence. This was my email to Derek Briggs, who was the one that wrote the paper of exceptional preservation. Now, I said, hello, my name's Roger Spur. Professor Berger requested I contact you. He's the guy I first talked to. He says, oh, you got to go through Derek Briggs. So I said, I am working with wet platesilicate mud rocks. There's the silicates, which are thought not to contain fossils because they are the fossils. This is in Connecticut. I'm 15 minutes from Yale. They don't contain bones like the dry desert sands, but they contain actual muddy, rocky copies of the creatures and some with possible DNA. So then I went and had the DNA test done because he refused to talk about it. The encapsulation was quick, cold, which was wrong. It was actually hot. Compact, anaerobic, platypolar silicates, continuing wet conditions resulting in microcurrent fossilization. Process is literally electrical replacement, which is nucleophilic invasion. I do all the sciences. And it was to replace the original matter because the calcium 2+ is so reactive in solution, the bone, which is what we're talking about, is replaced quickly with percolates. In these wet conditions, the preservation of soft tissue, however, is almost perfect. In some cases, see Mudfossil process on my YouTube channel. This process is rare and as such was not rare at all, and as such not well studied, therefore not well understood by mainstream science. University of Alberta proved electrical currents, the telluric currents. I have a YouTube that describes the process, has examples of perfect fossilization. I would appreciate an opinion if you would be so kind. And it did not end well with between Derek and myself. See, these are all the emails between me and Yale, and I got really upset. It started way back up the top here. Down here, I started to get kind of nasty. And I said, hi, Derek. Mudfossil video starring you. I said, I hope you are well. Sir, I opened my own university, Derek. I have 58,000 engaged students doing quite well. There's 230,000 or so now, 229,900 and something. As you graded my work and abilities, I see it fit to grade your work and abilities. Here is a video I put up moments ago. I think you should reconsider your position, but that is your decisions. Please say hi to Armand for me. Hi, Armand. That's his assistant. Here is a link to the video. I had hoped we could research this together. My hand is always extended, Derek. Well, it didn't go both ways. And then they took credit for my work. I don't care how you look at it. That's true. All right, and this was up to 2019. At that point, I was really pissed off. Because I started this in 2012 or so. By 2015, I had so much evidence, there was no stopping it. There was no way to stop it until I hit Yale. Okay, this is from Mars. This was when they went up there with the Curiosity. I saw all the different things from Mars. I knew exactly what they were. I contacted NASA. NASA ends up working with Yale, who distorts the information. They cause continually, many millions of years, layer after layer after layer. No, that's just not true whatsoever. That's muscle, which I showed you before, which is identical to this muscle right here. Not only that, the Mars crab is also muscle right here. That's the Mars crab. That's the muscle right there. Here's where it is here. These are the muscle sarcomeres. I showed you this. Is absolutely no question about this. This is eroded red blood, and that is the artery with the little blood vessels going in to service the tissue, which is here, which is the muscle. I don't care where it was on the body, but it's muscle. Now this is absolutely Mars because there is no rivulets. It's just dusted off like this. Now in addition to this, and again, this is a NASA picture, working with Yale instead of me. And here's the Mars blueberries, exactly identical to the Moki marbles. This is the basement layer of skin. All the rest is eroded away, dusted off. And then there's the Mars Morse code, which is here. And this is nothing more than the interstitium, which is like in your skin with all those little balls. And it's moving around and all that. It's supposed to come back to where it belongs. This is pinched. This is pinched. That's stretched skin. And this is sort of like normal. And the balls are what's left over after the straps erode. The straps are stretchy and they're a little bit gooey. The balls, no, they're hard. All right, they went and changed the name from geology to planetary sciences, basically. And this is nothing more than that right there. I'm showing you the enormity of the things. Just think 140-mile wide heart in space. It doesn't just change the stuff on Earth, it changes our relationship to the whole universe. It's Yale's obligation, fiduciary duty to their students to look into this. Okay, so I submitted all this stuff to Derek Briggs and he wouldn't do anything at Yale, so I went ahead and did my own stuff. I extracted the samples. I dug in deep and took out from the artery of my samples, 3 of them. All right, and this is extraction. I did the extraction of the stuff, sent it off to be tested. There was a 36-inch fingertip, 36 inches long, a fingertip. Still had the fingernail fingerprints, excellent quality DNA, because I smashed down inside of it. I had a lung done, which is this one right here, which was our size lung, into this red blood. If I put water on there, I can make that turn red right now with blood. It's just saturated with blood. It's a lung. Not only that, that's the aortic arch. They all died flat in the flood. This is what kills them. It destroys Darwin and all that. Look at that. That's saturated with blood. Watch. I put a little tiny bit of water on there, and it'll turn bright red in a couple of seconds. You see that? It's just saturated with blood. And I mean, you got to drill down. You can't just wipe it off the surface, because that's all I ever get was, oh, you must have done this, you must have done that. No, I didn't do anything wrong. And this was a very sophisticated PCR test, or PCR, and whatever they do, I don't know. But I did it so that I could get this done correctly. All right, sorry about that. I think we're down in here somewhere about the extractions and the elutions and all this kind of stuff. Now, these are the different samples, and they used different primers and so forth. There's a little technical stuff to it, but the bottom line is excellent quality DNA was obtained from the 36-inch tip and the lung. I showed you the lung. I mean, it was just, the lung is just solid blood. And so was the 36-inch tip, because I broke down inside of it. Let me show you. That's the fingertip. Excellent quality DNA. Vein and artery coming in. That's the fingernail. All right, it's got it's a little eroded off, but still, that would have been the thickness normally. And some have flaked off. This was perfect when I found it. I said, holy smokes, but I couldn't get it. It's something they call grip skin on fingers and toes and so forth. You can't get any blood out of those. There's just nothing in them. They're just like a rubber glove. And this little pad right here is right between your finger so that you don't scrub on the bone. What I did was where I could see a little crease here. I slammed it with a sledgehammer and it popped off. Now this is approximately 3 feet long, front to back. That's a big fingertip. Now, not only did I have this, when this popped off, there was some fingerprints right on the side with the sweat pores. And here they are right here. That's what popped off. The fingernail is up in this area here. It comes a little bit of skin, and then you go down into the sweat pores and the grip skin. And this is thick. I have a piece over here. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta find it. All right, here's that piece. And here clicking. That stuff is hard. That's the same piece. Right there. You see it? I broke another piece off of here. But you can, this is the thickness of the skin. That's peeled right off. It's not fractured. That didn't break. It just peeled right off. That's the thickness of the skin. And that's what it is right here. It came off just like that. But down underneath, there's blood. Up above here, there's no blood. It's just... I did my work. Now this can be retested. It's already been done. It can be done again if somebody wants to do it. I've shown all the evidence to support my side of the story here, and it's undeniable.